When you travel long term, it's very different than going on a vacation. We've been living and traveling abroad for the past few years, and we've learned a ton we want to share with you.
Hi, I'm Angie from Taiwan.
And I am Paul from the States and wherever I happen to be at the time.
We are a cross-culture couple who just got married right before we go on to a nomadic traveling.
My conception of travel before I started traveling as a nomad in 2018 was that of a vacation. A vacation is something that I've learned is very different than long-term travel because on a vacation you can't afford anything to go wrong. They're typically short and therefore you're usually willing to spend a lot more money to make sure the week or 2 weeks is flawless if you're going on vacation. But when you're traveling long-term, quickly you realize things go wrong. And also, you have more time to fix and adjust to your surroundings. So we want to cover 3 things.
First is easy fixes, things that you can always do when you're on the road. Second one is the things that you travel with, that is so important to you, makes you who you are, and is probably not replaceable in a local setting. And the third one is changes of routines according to local settings.
So the first one was a quick learning of us both. I think I realized from traveling abroad earlier than Angie that the first week is kind of a mess and you need to adapt to your surroundings. I propose that we institute a 1-week rule where we don't determine whether we like or don't like our environment until we fully adapt to it. I think that was a learning for you, right?
When I know I want to go on a nomadic travel, I imagine myself to be a complete hipster who doesn't need anything, who is willing to sleep in the mud, sleep in a tent when it is raining because I want to go on this grandeur journey of my life. But the truth is, whenever I arrived in a new place, I want it to be comforting, I want it to be romantic in my way, I want it to feel like home. And so there are so many small details that is just not falling to my expectations. Why is this faucet going this way? Why is the bedsheet looking this color? Why don't we have a closet in the room? The truth is, I need 2 weeks of adjustment. After these 2 weeks, I found out, wait, actually, everything is fixable.
And I think that was the difference in us. I think I had much lower expectations, mostly from traveling long term and then realizing I could fix stuff. So now we're just much more willing to spend, like, I don't know, even $50 can dramatically change your first week. We're living in a new place in Taiwan right now, and you went and bought a desk and a toaster. And what else did we buy? But in the past, we've bought things like pillows, blankets, just really simple things that makes your place more of a home. And usually you can do this for less than $50 or even $25. The second thing that I realized early on in my travels that was really important was just traveling with things where I could jump into my day-to-day life in a positive way. I think for me, having coffee anywhere I go, that kind of is like my orientation point where I can wake up, have a good cup of coffee I like, and I have the equipment to do that. It's super cheap, easy to travel with, but just makes my life a whole lot better. I think for Angie, it's been great for me, but for you, it's fitness equipment, which has basically enabled me to stay healthier.
Before I go traveling, I work as a personal trainer. Being healthy, being fit is really important for me. So I have certain equipment with me. I have TRX, I have sandbag I can use for lower body training. I have a bunch of resistant band, sound fascia release equipment. So that constitutes almost like a whole carry-on bag for me. I am willing to compromise by not bring as much clothes with me instead.
That's where it's the opposite of the vacation again. The vacation, you might want to bring a ton of clothes because that's an experience for you to like really live your life up. Whereas long-term travel, it's not as much about that. So you want to get into your work mode. I travel with a lot of stuff for my work, like cameras, stands for my computer so I can sit ergonomically. We both have keyboards, mouse, so we can basically just get set up and going, which brings us to our third topic, which is really figuring out how do you get into that routine and then also just embracing the different dynamics and weather of that new local surrounding you find yourself in.
For me, it's still hard because I'm definitely not a kind of productivity entrepreneur who has a routine. And so every time I was arriving in a new location, I was so attracted by all those shining things in the areas. The coffee shop I can go to, the new bookstore I can check out, the local spices store that I can get something exotic from. And so it's really a challenge for me to adjust whenever we move to a new location.
One thing that's been surprising for me is how different just the shape of the apartment or the lighting or the location is in terms of like how you spend your time. Right now we're in a very bright place, and it's much more inspiring for me to just sit here and work because it's a beautiful place. I don't feel like I need to escape like if we were in a dark apartment or something like that.
Other example is how the light and the weather can change how you work. For me, when I was in Puerto Escondido in Oaxaca, I really love enjoying dipping in the sea before the sun comes out. The first thing I woke up is changing into my swimsuit, go straight into the beach and start snorkeling. Then my workday starts after that. But here in Taiwan, the sun was super unbearable in the daytime, but it was pretty pleasant in the evening time to go cycling. So my strategy becomes I have to work immediately after I wake up and then start cycling, and then go out to explore when it's more pleasant in the sunset time.
You also just adapt to what the cool experiences are in that environment. In Puerto, we probably decided this too late, but we basically oriented our day around going to this beautiful sunset point. And that was when we stopped working, stopped cooking, stopped doing whatever we were doing, and just drive out to the sunset and like really have that hour to enjoy the beautiful sunset on a cliff.